Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Thursday afternoon puppet craft period with Sandglass Theater and our friends at Fact TV. We're super excited to do this again. We've learned a few things from the first round, and we also have you here. On those of you that are streaming live on Facebook, feel free to interact, give comments, ask questions, and I can read what you're saying at home. And if you're joining us live, that's great. Otherwise, you're joining us later and going through the video, you can still be in touch, ask us questions. We'll still engage. We also have with us Jana and Django, coming live from Brattleboro. And today, we are making a new little project. And you may have seen this little video go out. So yes, have you ever went to take a sip of coffee from your morning brew and out pops a little character? So that's what we're going to be making today. And if you saw that video, you also saw our materials list that we're using today. And if you didn't see them, that's fine. They're pretty easy to collect. So let's check with Jana. Have you got your recycled to-go cup?
Mocha Joe's.
Yes.
Sponsored.
Oh, wonderful.
A little product placement. I don't know if Mocha Joe's is still open right now. Hopefully they're open again.
They'll never close. They'll always.
So we have Mocha Joe's and I have the co-op. So we're representing local places to get coffee right now, which is great. So we have our coffee mug cup. We have a chopstick, or if you don't have a chopstick, a little dowel, or a pencil you don't need anymore, or a stick you found in the yard that's relatively straight. All of those are okay to use. We have a swatch of fabric. This is hardly even a perfect square. I just kind of grabbed it from my scrap fabric, which is fine. But I want it large enough that when I hold it in the center and I extend, I'm gonna put my chopstick right in the center of it, and then I'm going to feed the whole thing into my cup, and I wanna make sure that it's large enough that there's no places that don't reach the brim of my cup. That's the only kind of measuring I did. Like I said last time, I'm a criminal eyeballer. I don't measure very often. So, chopstick cup swatch. I have also scraps of felt that I use for decoration. I have a whole bag here of different colors and shapes and stuff that I can just cut up and use however I want. I have a little bit of stuffing. You could use stuffing if you have polyfill or some kind of doll stuffing you can use. And if you don't have this, you can crumple up some tin foil or some newspaper or some tissue paper, or maybe not your toilet paper. Keep that one close. I also have a little bit of string. And this is just the string I happen to find. Whatever string you happen to find is great. We're all about improvising with whatever you can find in your home. I have a few acrylic paints. They're optional later if I want to paint a little face on the puppet. I have these. And then I have my tools. I have my little paintbrush, my hot glue gun, my scissors, and I'm ready to go. Do you have all your materials, Jana and Django?
I do, but I'm afraid that all my swatches of fabric are just too narrow. Do you think it matters if it's open on the sides a little bit?
I don't think so. I think you can be a wonderful experiment.
Let's experiment, because, I'm gonna make a red, I'm gonna make a devil, I think. Okay, I'll try to make this one work.
Great.
Okay.
So, like every week, we're kind of exploring, everyone does their own interpretations of these kind of puppets. So they're free-form puppets. We give you a template or a kind of loose guideline, you build along. Maybe you discover something exciting to share with us, what you made, and it'll inspire us. So hopefully we have a generative, inspirational cycle going on here. So share with us your process as you go along. Share with us your questions as you go along. Just type them in on our Facebook Live feed, and we'll answer them as best we can. So, are you ready? I am ready. Are you ready?
Ready!
Great. Nice hairdo, Django. All right. So, I'm going to start with my fabric. And the first thing I'm going to make is the head. I'm sure there's many different ways to do this, but this is what happened when I started to build a little bit at home. So I'm going to play a little bit with how much of this stuffing I want and roll it up in a ball to kind of figure out how big I want the head to be. So you'll see from this little prototype model, I'll stand him here as a guide. He's not very big at all, right? Because he wants to be proportional to the cup.
Oh, stuffing.
And we're using stuffing, but you could use paper or something for this too.
Nice.
I happen to have a big bag of stuffing. We'll use stuffing. Stuffing.
Yes. And stuffing, of course, gets smaller as you squish it. And I'm going to stick my chopstick into that bit of stuffing. So that's the head that I'm going to use. I'm going to put it right in the center of my fabric. And I'm going to just flip it over. Oh, you know what? I should have warned you to prepare your string first. Otherwise, you're going to have to do it one-handed. I'm going to do it the risky way, one-handed. Okay. I have my string. I have my stuffing wrapped around my chopstick and my fabric, and I like to give a little tug all the way around the fabric to make sure it's really set. And you know what I'm noticing? I want a little more stuffing. It's too small for me. So.
Yeah, I noticed that too. My chopstick was poking out at the top.
So that is easily remedied by some more stuffing.
Is this okay then? It's not open?
Okay. Try this again. I know we have a few people out there watching, so feel free to say hi, drop us a comment.
And when we don't sing the Winter Sunshine song anymore, it's just too warm outside now.
Yes, it's winter sunshine has passed. Maybe we need a summer sunshine song. All right. I like this size for my head. So I like to give it just a little twist because it, for me, I don't know, it helps it stay in place while I hold it with one hand. And I'm going to wrap the neck with my string. Now this is great when you have two people. So Django and Jana, you might be able to help each other with this one. If it's just one of you,
Well, here, Django, can you?
You
give
might
me
need
a-
to enlist your teeth. So I'm wrapping it around a couple times, and then I'm gonna tie a knot. And
I'm
these-
noticing it really makes a lot of folds across the head. But
It's kind of nice and cheap.
yours turned out so perfect. Wait, I'm gonna roll my ball again.
This one's not, yeah, you have to make it really small.
Small and tight. Okay.
Django, do you have your chopstick in there too?
Yep.
Great. Awesome. So I've done 2 knots, a double knot on one side, just to make it extra secure. I'm going to bring both pieces back to the front and make another double knot,
Okay.
just so I know it's not going anywhere.
There you go.
Okay. So we have our little fella. And now we can see the how great it is when there's 2 of you building.
Now, this is really helping right now. Django is tying it tight for me while I'm holding on to my. There we go. And now we're using a little actually fabric swatch to do the tying.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
I have a
What's it
little
called a
scarf.
swatch? Isn't a swatch a watch company?
Great. Okay. So I think my next step is going to be to put the hole in the bottom of my cup. And again, one could measure this very specifically. I'm gonna eyeball it. Maybe you want to make a little dot where you're eyeballing first before you poke your hole. But I'm just gonna go ahead and poke my hole with one piece of my scissors. Gentle little poke. And then I'm just gonna expand that hole a little bit by twisting my scissors. You wanna just make it large enough, of course, so that your chopstick goes through.
Yeah, woohoo! Desi can join us now.
Great.
Yay!
So you'll see that my chopstick fits in my hole. My puppet can go down and up. What you'll also see is I haven't attached the fabric yet to the side of the cup, so he's just flipping out all over the place, which is a good place to be.
Shoshi, we're just gonna recap here for a moment to get Desi in. Desi, make yourself a head out of this stuffing, roll it into, well, that might be too much. We're going. And then put it at the top of your chopstick. And then find the fabric you want, and then we'll tie that one into the fabric. Thanks, Rush. Okay.
Great. Glad you're joining us, Desmond.
Thank you.
That reminds me, last week we were celebrating Desi's birthday during our craft time. And this week we're celebrating Eric Bass's birthday today, who is
Yay.
one of the founders of Sandglass Theater and also happens to be Jana and my father. So, happy birthday, Eric!
Happy birthday, I shouldn't have played with it yet. My chopstick slipped out of my head.
Oh, thank you for making an example of that, Jana. One great thing to do is I can flip my little character upside down like this. I'm going to take my hot glue and just put dabs around here so that my chopstick doesn't slip out again, as Jana so graciously demonstrated for us.
You're welcome.
So, just going to let it dry upside down. Hot glue works wonders really quickly. Of course, if you're using white glue, you'll have to wait a little bit longer. All right.
Izzy, how is that? Okay.
So, it's almost dry.
We're still waiting for our glue gun to heat up, but we'll catch up on you.
That sounds great. I love the colors you all are using. They're so
This is
bright.
from another puppet project. Actually, Shoshi, this is leftover fabric from the puppet workshop that you and I taught in California.
Oh, how wonderful. Oh, that's such a good memory. Jana and I did a whole tour through San Diego and LA when we were, that was how many years ago, Jana? 2 years ago?
Yes.
2 years ago, and it was wonderful. We went all the way down to the border in San Diego, and then we got to just see kids all day long every day and do puppet shows and do workshops. We did a workshop with teachers and adults as well. So we're sad to not be getting to travel to places right now to do puppetry directly with people, but we hope this reaches people too. So mine is dry. I'm going to flip it back upright and find the little hole in my cup. If you want to clean up that hole a little bit, you can. I actually like it a little bit rough because it catches the stick so it doesn't slip out very easily. One thing you could do if you want to make a really foolproof one where the chopstick is really in there now, you could put a little rubber band around the bottom of the chopstick so that it wouldn't slide through. So right here, if you would like. That's an option. I don't have a rubber band right now because I am in a studio, not at my home. But since you are probably at your home, you might have one of those lying around. All right. So now comes a kind of eyeball-y step. You can find your own way to do this a little bit. And I'm debating, let's see, I want to make sure that the extension point of my chopstick is how tall I can have my puppet. So I'm just going to test right now. If I'm at my extension point with the chopstick and I pull him all the way down, he's hidden. So that's perfect. So I'm going to leave him down where he goes down. And now I'm going to start to glue this fabric down. I know we'll have extra fabric that we can then cut out later. And there are definitely ways to make this a little bit cleaner. We could fold it over, right? You could put the fabric to the outside like this. Or if you're really getting in there, you could take the fabric folded over, slip it into the inside, and glue it along the rim. All different options. So I think we should all try different options and see what our most successful way is together. Jana, Django, and Desi.
Okay.
That sounds good.
When I made this one, I pushed him down inside, and then I just glued the fabric to the rim of the cup, right? Just in there. And then I just cut off the excess fabric. Now, because we haven't done a meticulous measure of making a cone, we're working with a circle, right? We didn't cut a slit in it and make it a cone to make him this exact circumference around the bottom, right? He's got more fabric than that underneath. So there are bits, and maybe you can see right here, that are not glued, they're just kind of folded. I don't know, can you see that? There's a little hole there where there's excess fabric. That's okay. I can either just leave it like that, or I could push it through to the inside of the cup. So we'll go over that in a moment. But here I am with my fabric. I'm gonna pull it all out for now. And I'm gonna start to go around with my glue gun and just glue the fabric along the edge of my cup. I like to work in little dots at first and then fill them in. It takes some time, so.
I'm still pulling one.
Yeah, we're catching up with you, Shush. We're still having to glue on the heads.
Oh, okay.
Did you show that how to flip it upside down and glue it on the inside there?
I did, but you can show it again.
We'll show it again. So
Just like that.
yeah, so we flipped it up and down so we can glue that little seam where the chopstick goes into the fabric.
Great. So whatever place you're at with this, you can fast forward, you can rewind the video. You can't fast forward it yet, right now, because it's live.
Kids, don't touch hot glue.
Okay, I am going to now, what is the way that you did it, Shosh? Actually, I'm going to also, right. So this part is up to every person individually, right? How to get the fabric onto the rim.
The part that matters is that I want to make sure that I can extend him, right? I'll show you on this one, that he can go all the way up to where I can still hold on to that very base of the tip, which maybe you wrapped a rubber band around. And then I can disappear him completely. So I'm looking for that measurement. If I pull him all the way down, that's a nice place to work. So I pulled him all the way down in my cup, and now I'm just kind of gluing the edges of this fabric to the side of my cup.
Okay.
Very carefully, because I'm using hot glue.
That one will dizzy?
And again, you'll have folds in it, and that's fine. It won't be, right, one perfectly proportional fabric to cup ring event. So the folds are fine. They give him a body. When he comes up, he has body.
All right, I'm gonna glue mine.
Okay.
This is gonna be a.
So you might have to, so what's your plan, Jingle?
I'm gonna do like a little section and just glue like
Glue
on
it.
the edge of the cup and then just,
And then you'll cut it in the end.
yes.
Yeah.
I'll cut it after I glue.
Oh, you're doing it like that, okay. You're doing it from the outside. Well, I slipped mine in. No,
And-
we're actually doing it the same. I'm gonna glue my fabric from the inside.
As you're gluing, you can also test it periodically to just make sure you're on the right track. Before the glue dries, or if you're using white glue, but with hot glue it's easy, you can just kind of cheat it off again. So I see that this is a good height for me, right? Where I've started to glue it, he can come out of the cup to a nice height, and he can totally disappear again in the cup. All this extra fabric scrap, we're gonna cut that off, so don't worry about that. I'm just gonna go around and check, because I just started gently with a few dots to make sure he was at a good height. Now I feel he's at a good height, so I'm gonna fill in my glue so it's not going anywhere.
Shoshi, I really love that we never measure stuff out. It's so kind of crazy. It adds that piece of just experimenting.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with measuring things too. I've just never been really good at it and never been very disciplined at it. So if you are measuring, and like our mother, she makes whole templates and charts before she shares one of these projects, which is so great and impressive. And I just have never quite functioned that way. But after I have one successful one, I suppose I could take it apart again and measure exactly the circle, and so then I could make more from that one. But the thing I like about not measuring is that I discover different shapes that they can be. Like, maybe if this fabric is bigger, he becomes a little plumper. Or maybe if I try a different way, I try cutting a slit through my circle and making it into a cone rather than a full circle, he can become very thin and long. So yeah, do it your own way. We like it like that. And these kind of fun, crafty projects, the beauty of them is that they're scrappy. So I have now glued around my edges. There's a few.
I'm noticing that I have to kind of make pleats into the fabric.
Yes.
Because the fabric is longer than the circumference of the cup, so I'm just trying to spread out the pleats a little bit evenly across where I'm gluing it.
Yeah, and that's nice. That's nothing to worry about. You can also poke them to the inside if you collect it on either side. you can just kind of sneak that extra fabric into the inside of the cone of the puppet, if that makes sense. Or you could pleat like Jana's doing. That's a great idea. I tend to just see where it lands because I like to see what characters just kind of emerge organically. But I do want to make sure all of them are connected to the rim of the glass, the cup. So
This is a wonderful way to recycle to-go cups.
it is.
There's so many of these in the world.
And to give it to someone as a joke. Oh, thank you for my teeth. All right, I have finished gluing, so I am going to pick up my scissors now, and I'm going to cut off my excess fabric. So I'm going to go right along the edge where I glued. So I'm cutting above the glue and not into the glue.
The character can stand up tall.
Want to make sure he's still pulled all the way down in his cup as I do this. Here we go.
Oh, Shoshi is also, she's cutting it after the glue.
Yes, after the gluing, so that I get a nice, and you'll have little things like this where you're like, oh, this part isn't connected to anything. I didn't glue that down. And then I could either pull him out and take that part and tuck it to the inside, right? So it disappears. Or you could glue it to the side. Did everyone see that? So this was an extra part. I could also just leave it. It's kind of a funny little arm if I wanted to. But I'm going to open this little gap. So I've glued up to either side here. And I'm going to take this extra fabric and just sneak it inside. Hope everyone can see that. Yeah? Let's see, I have another one over here. I'm going to sneak to the inside.
Oh, nice, Jago.
All right,
This is by far the best pair of scissors.
I've glued one in, and now I'm gonna cut the fabric around the edge.
Nice. Desi, are you gluing yours right now?
I am.
Great.
Can't quite show the whole thing, all the people working at our hot glue station.
That's okay.
I have made these in the past, but with toilet paper rolls. And I'm finding the coffee cup is so much better because it's bigger and it makes it easier to work with.
That would be fun to experiment to try to recreate this from different sized recyclables.
Yeah.
It doesn't even necessarily have to be round. You could make this in any kind of box.
Yeah, it's like a chocolino.
It is like a chocolino. Anyone who knows Punchy probably knows Chocolino. He's a clown that lives in a round box.
What is it?
He's a little temperamental.
Why is it? It's not coming out enough. It's okay?
Okay. So I have now completed this step. There may still be a little bit of preening I want to do here and there, so you're welcome to go in again with your scissors. Some people like to leave a little rim and then take that extra fabric and glue it to the cup itself. That's also an option. Or one could go around with a different fabric. Say I want to use strips of my felt. Just going to cut a strip. And I could go around, well, I'll do it on the front so you can see. and glue it over my rim so that I'm really making a nice edge to my puppet here. So that's also an option.
My puppet is a little, it's a little shorter on one side than on the other, but I like it. It's got character.
It's got a lot of character.
And it has a lot of ruffles because I think my fabric is a little long. So anyway, it has character, guys.
He's wonderfully puffy. I love him. Or her.
Charactery. Charactery.
The
He's so
puppet.
charactery.
Yeah.
Oops.
So
Nice.
I think I'm gonna glue this little rim. You don't have to do it. This one doesn't have a rim because I also like that it's a surprise when he comes up, and I could make it, I only painted one side.
Yeah, but it's too, because it can't push out.
There's some gluing going on over here, right?
It is. And I kind of want to, look at, Django's is so maybe if I put it, only a certain amount in.
Mm.
What's the trouble, Nancy? Is that it's not coming out far enough? No, it's coming out too far. Oh, it's coming out too far. Yeah, like mine, it has a lot of extra fabric. Right. Yeah. I want mine to not. But mine can, it can make circles. Stretches. It can twist.
Yeah, the extra fabric is fun because it gives it a lot of body. It gives it, I don't know, that's the fun thing. It gets surprising how much comes out of that little cup. So you can play around with that. So I'm just gluing my rim around my cup. Gives it kind of a finish to it if you're into that. And oh, it's been nice I've been peeking down at my phone over here just to see as people tune in and are watching. It's nice to see people drop in. Let's hope some of you are building along or pass this video on to others who might want to build along. We love to see videos and photographs of what you've built at home, so please share those with us as you endeavor on this project. If you missed the intro, you can of course rewind this video. Start at the beginning. And if questions come up, you can always write to us on our Facebook page, or if you know Jana or myself separately, you can ask us personally. Or if you don't, you can introduce yourself.
How's it going, Desi? Is it spooky? It's starting to. Okay.
Are you making a rim too, Jana?
I am, and I noticed that I didn't cut my strip long enough.
Yeah, I made a half strip, which means I could make my other half a different color. Yay! If I wanted to.
Why not?
Why?
We're gonna add faces? Yeah, definitely. Do you want to add a face, Desi? Yes.
Actually, I'm going to use red again because it's right in front of me and it's saying hi. So I'm going to measure, this is how I measure things, right? I'm going to measure how much more fabric I need by putting my rim down and rolling it. I need that much more. And a little bit extra in case I didn't quite measure that correctly.
Mine has a little arm. Nice. So far, mine has a little arm.
Oh, that's great. I love that. Yeah, they kind of, these characters emerge. They make themselves sometimes a little bit, which I love. All right, going in on the rest of my rim, I need a new glue stick. I brought another one. Oh, it's not very good. It's a beautiful day outside in Vermont today. I feel like the winter is finally behind us. It took a really long time. also been noticing more birds than I usually notice. And maybe that's because I'm noticing more in general, because I'm just quieter in my life. Or maybe there just are more birds. I don't know. But there have been so many.
That was so. Oh my God, I'm missing one little, like half an inch of rim color.
Ooh, you could make a special stripe.
I'll just add a little piece.
So, and I've gotten all the way around on my rim, and I have a little extra, so I'm going to cut that off.
We'd be using a lot of hot glue.
Yeah, hot glue is really great for these kind of projects. Of course, there are alternatives. One can use white glue. Just takes more patience. All right, so my little guy has his little rim, and he comes up and down really smoothly. All his pieces are tucked in, his excess pieces. So now I'm going to start to think about what kind of costume I want to give this character. I'm going to take this extra string that I have and cut it off. Jana used a bit of fabric scrap to tie off her neck, so maybe she wants to leave that visible. I kind of want...
I'm going to leave it, but it's making a lot of threads come off.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can trim that. Well, I didn't use a fabric scrap. I used some white string, so I kind of want to give mine a collar so that, like this little guy, right? I gave him a little collar to kind of cover the string. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe against the contrast here, red contrast. He's got a little fabric collar. And collars are fun to make because all I need is a circular piece. This one kind of matches. It doesn't contrast enough. Let's see. I want a brighter piece. Bright blue? Bright yellow. I always go to the yellow. Or red to match my cup rim. I think we're gonna go with yellow. So to make my collar, I'm gonna cut out a circle. That is the width that I want my collar to be, the circumference I want my collar to be. And again, if you want to use a compass or a template and measure this out really nicely, that's awesome. I just kind of make an approximate circle. And then I can look at it and say, oh, that's about the size I want. So I'm going to cut halfway through my circle, right? So I've made a little split here in my fabric. And then I'm going to cut a little circle inside my circle that's about the size of my neck. So I wind up with this, looks almost like a C. Well, maybe to you I need to do it this way. And I can fit that right around my puppet's neck. And say, oh, I need to make my inside circle just a little bit bigger to fit perfectly around that neck. You can always take off more, but it's really hard to add back in, so go slowly. Ah, that's great. So then I can think about what kind of pattern I want that collar to be. This one is a zigzag pattern, right? I made little triangles all the way around. You can see that. So for this one, I'm just going to start cutting and see what happens.
I've decided to just cut different color fabric strips, and I'm tying them around the neck to make like a fondue.
fun do?
Yeah, like, hold on, I'll show it to you in just one moment. I already have a red one. I'm kind of going for this. So I'm gonna cut some little different color fabrics to make it fun around. I do like the idea of putting something around the neck. That's a nice idea, sure.
Oh, it's so expressive what you just showed. I love it. So of course when I'm cutting the pattern of my collar, I don't want to cut all the way to the center because we want it to stay one complete piece. But I've wound up cutting just little nooks, notches, that's the word I'm looking for, little notches into this piece all the way around. Is anyone building out there? Want to share where you're at, what your progress is? Anybody have any questions? Let us know. I should also say, like so many performance venues and arts organizations around the nation, around the world right now, we are not touring, we're not performing, we're not presenting work in our theater. So this is how we are spending time with you and connecting with you. We also have archival videos on demand for rentals. So right now you can see Isidore's Cheek, you can see, which is by Ina Zeller-Bass, a beautiful children's show. You can see Richard 3.5, which is a hilarious vaudevillian collaboration between Eric Bass and Bob Berkey about Richard III. And there's going to be new ones going up there real soon. I hope to put Story of the Dog up there soon, which is a collaboration Sandglass did with Savannah Pum, a company from Cambodia. And we are doing lots of activity on our Facebook page. So that's the best way to be in touch with us right now. We share a lot to Instagram as well. We have a little pay what you can link on all our material. So if you would like to contribute so that puppet theaters are still around when the pandemic is over, please do so if you want to support more of this. Yeah.
I'm making a pom-pom hat.
Nice. A pom-pom hat. Do you have pom-poms there? Those are great things to have around for crafting.
No, I'm actually making my own.
How do you make your own pom-pom, Django?
Well, you just kind of do it like you made the head, well, it's not going to be a different color than the hat, but you can cut out, I have no idea, I've never tried this before, and I don't even know if it's going to work. You take a little pom-pom here, like a little fluff, and you put it on the fabric, and then you kind of go around it, like that. And it's just like you made the head, and then you can kind of do that, and then you have a nice little hat.
Oh, that's really clever. Okay, I'm almost done with my collar here. It's taking a while. I also want to let people know that on Friday, if you're interested, I will be back here at Fact TV at 6 p.m. to just give a full-on update about Sandglass and how we're doing right now and what we're doing right now. There'll be some fun videos and just an overview of all these things of how we're reimagining Sandglass right now. So I hope you tune in, join us, and we're really happy for our partnership right now with Fact TV and all they're doing to support arts organizations in the region, get the word out. So here I have my finished cut collar, and I am going to now place that around my puppet's neck and glue it in place. This is becoming like a flower, my puppet. And I want to use glue really sparingly on this part of the puppet because I want the body to remain very flexible so it can keep going up and down.
Turned out pretty short. Oh, sweet. Does it disappear all the way? Nice, Desi.
Okay. I liked what Django said about a hat. I would like to make a hat for mine as well. So I'm going to think about that and what colors I have here.
Okay, what? Out of which color, Desi?
Oh, I have hot pink.
Or remember, you could use the edge of the fabric and it won't frame. Actually, if you come with this Black Rooster Studio stuff ein bisschen mehr abschneiden.
Or orange. I could use orange. I seem to have a lot of reds, pinks, and oranges, so those are my biggest amounts of colors, so my hat is going to be one of those. Or blue, light blue. Ooh, maybe I want to go light blue.
Nice little hat, Django.
Django, let's see your hat. Is it ready to show?
Well, it's not on there yet, but it looks like that.
Oh, that's great.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna use it though, but we'll see.
So I really like to make cone hats, but there's all sorts of hats. Felt is especially fun to make hats with. You could make sun hats, top hats, bonnets, whatever you like. I'm going to make a cone hat, and to do that I am going to cut another circle. I always start with a circle. Then I'm going to cut again that slit halfway through my circle and kind of look at how big I want this hat. By overlapping that slit, I'm going to make it a little longer, right? It makes a little hat shape. So I want a little bit of a tighter hat. So I'm actually going to cut out a whole wedge. Made a kind of a Pac-Man. And then I can keep fitting it on my little character. Say, that's a nice head fitting size. Glue it on.
I think mine is gonna have a little, how do you call them? I'm just gonna make a little Kopftuch.
A little head scarf.
A little scarf for the top of the head, I think.
That's wonderful. When you get to the point of your hat, I always find that's the moment I need to decide what is the front of my puppet. And these are interesting because they do have kind of creased faces where we wrap them together. So I look for the part that to me most looks like the front. And I think it's this part right now. So I'm going to place my hat a little bit further to the back. Ooh, he's a wobbling. Oh, I need my new glue stick. And I'm going to paste on my hat. So, he's got his hat on his head. He's got his collar around his neck. Here he is, folks.
Oh, yay, nice.
In this little guy, I added hair. You can always add hair. So that's an option as well. And then if you want, you could pull out some acrylic paints, they're great, and paint a little face on him as well. I also love when they're blank because they can be really expressive that way. So we have about 5 more minutes together. So any last little bedazzlements or touches? We can throw out some ideas for you of how you could continue. I know you're probably not done yet and keep working on your puppets, but we're going to give you some ideas of what else you can do with them. For example, right, we talked about painting the face, and if you take a close look at this one, you can see that I was very simple about it. I made 2 little eyes, a little smile, a little dot.
Yoshi, can we see that?
Oh, sweet. Okay. So that's with acrylic paint, of course, because you're painting on top of fabric.
Yes, acrylic
Yeah.
is good for that. I can also paint my cup.
But it might run.
I could paint my cup however I want. Yes, not too wet when you use the acrylic paint on the fabric. And you can see I painted this one a little bit so that there's those Mocha Joe's cups. Yes, maybe don't paint those because they're so classic like that.
They are so classic.
That
Nice
looks
hatchet.
so great, Django. I love that little pop-up guy.
Mocha Joe's coffee. We got it.
So Django made a proposal for a pom-pom hat, which is great. You can, by the way, anything you see that you like that someone else is making or trying, steal it, try it. We're all about that. So it's not about being original, it's already original, so don't worry about that. You could make buttons down the chest with pom-poms. You could make hair, as we said. Nice headscarf. Jana's giving an example of a headscarf.
It's standing up by itself, so
It
it
looks like
has.
Well-
it's like something that Pope would wear.
I only got this far. I didn't get much further.
Oh, he's got little arms, Desi. It's so
Yeah.
cute.
Nice.
Like a happy ghost puppet. Yeah.
I called him Trash Can Charlie.
Trash Can Charlie. Yes, right. Naming your puppet is another fun thing to do. You could write the name on the cup. And whatever else you can think of. It's all up there for grabs. And we hope you enjoyed creating with us today and building along. We hope you'll be in touch. Share with us what you've made. I'll say again, we have a little donation link for Pay What You Can if you'd like to contribute to Sandglass and are sustaining through this uncertain time right now. Please do. Please come back and join us again next Thursday. We'll be back here, same time, same place, with another fun, new, exciting project. I wanted to show you, I brought 2 puppets today that I've been making for a new show. And I'll just bring them out to wave goodbye. But we're also looking for names for these puppets, so if you have great ideas, please share them with us. These are hand puppets, and they will be part of a new show that Jana and I are creating. That's right, called Oma. And these are the grandchildren. So if you have name suggestions for us, please send them in. Now let's say goodbye with our puppets.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for building along. See you next week.